Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and you were just with me today because Neon is off playing video games with Squid King for the gaming channel. We're going to talk today about Nelson Peltz and the Trian Group and how they're reigniting the proxy battle, moving forward with it. It was announced yesterday. I didn't get a chance to cover it yesterday because we had other stuff going on, so we're going to talk about it today. Since yesterday, we've got some new information and some other people coming out and making comments, which was very interesting to me. So we're going to take a look at it. Also, the Disney stock bumped upward after, he announced that he was moving forward with the proxy battle, because it sounds to me, coming from other investor groups, investors, are kind of concerned about the way Disney has been handling things of late, especially in regards to Disney Plus. So we're going to look at that. Before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. I'll give you a woohoo, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. So I did an article today, and it's breaking it down about what's going on. So we know that Peltz is intending to move forward with his proxy war. He said that he is launching a blitz on Disney. Mostly, I think it sounds like it's over a few different things. One of them is transparency, because Disney is not being very transparent. And in regards to the shareholders and what they're concerned about, I guess it comes down to, and we're going to talk about Moffett-Nathanson saying something similar, it comes down to the fact that people aren't feeling like Disney is being very transparent about what they want to do. They're making long-term goals way out, but they're not making shorter benchmark goals to encourage investor, faith in Disney and Disney Plus. He's going to turn around and he wants it to be like Netflix, where Netflix has a 15 to 20% profitability for their streaming. Disney does not, and he wants to increase it at least 5% to hit more in the Netflix range. Okay, that's what's supposedly going on. So he's meeting next month. Trian is going to meet with solicitors Glass Lewis and ISS. They want to win more people to their side, so they're going to take March to go lobby shareholders and investors and try to win them to their side for the vote in April. Now, if you recall, last year he had threatened the proxy battle, that he had threatened he was going to go after them for that. But then when Iger announced that they were going to make all these drastic cuts, they were going to have, different jobs eliminated and not fulfill other jobs, and they were going to do different things to move towards profitability, he said, okay, fine, I'll step back, we'll see what happens. And then they turned around and fired Ike Perlmutter, who has aligned himself with, Peltz now. And he was friends with Peltz before and was backing Peltz when Peltz threatened the proxy battle the first time. And then when Peltz backed off, first thing Disney did was fire Perlmutter, which was really, really stupid. So they're moving forward with this battle. It doesn't sound to me like what they're trying to do is that terrible. He relaunched, again, his website he had. I have it over here, which is the Restore the Magic website. They had this before. They're back to promoting on it. He says he's going to do a lot of campaigning on X, which was Twitter. He's talking about how shareholders, are feeling the love that Disney is way below even S&P 500 on the return of the last 10 years. Just the thought of Peltz, coming out and saying that yes, he's moving forward with it, bumped the stock up. Now, it wasn't a lot. It's up to like 92. It was up to 93, and now it's on 92, which is what it was a few days ago too, but it had fallen. But I think people are kind of waiting to see what's going on. So when I did this article, what was interesting to me was, there's a stock for just a little bit ago, was that there was an interview, okay, and it was over here on CNBC. And now in this interview, they interviewed Nathanson, one of the Moffett-Nathanson people, Michael Nathanson, who's one of the co-founders of Moffett-Nathanson. They always get to ask questions at Disney shareholder meetings. I think they've had people from the Moffett-Nathanson on their boards before. They are definitely ones that Disney always allows to speak and have questions because they're one of the bigger investment groups. So they asked him what he thought, and you can catch that entire interview over on CNBC, where they ask him some different questions. But he had some answers that was kind of interesting to me. They asked him about, what was going on, and they asked him about the margins that Peltz wants to achieve and if it's even achievable, because they're like, he wants to achieve the same thing as Netflix. Is that something Disney can even do? He said, in theory, Disney has advantages Netflix does not have. The library content. They have kids content that works globally. They have franchises they own. They own ABC and other networks. They should be able to get into that range. And I think the investment community is really not believing that's possible. And therefore, the Disney company needs to put more emphasis on how to get there. To me, when I listen to his, Peltz, arguments, that is the crux of the debate, in my view, of what people need to hear more of. So then the person asked him, do you think that investors are just not hearing enough? And do you think that's, if they had a more clear, concise outline for people, if they feel more confident? And he talked about the pandemic, because she also mentioned that the stock we're seeing stock at levels during the pandemic. But he also mentioned that we also saw a big jump to $180 a share during the pandemic. So he thinks that the faith in streaming is no longer there. The investors used to have a lot of faith in Disney and moving towards a streaming model. But due to the way things have happened after the pandemic, people are pulling back from that. And plus Disney's not giving them anything clear and concise to work with. So what he said was, to me, 2024 has to be about laying the foundation of how streaming could move into that band of profitability between 15 to 20%. I think that's Trian's major argument. And if I was them, I would keep pushing that. And I think that's where they could get reception from investors, which basically was investors need to hear more from Disney, and they're not giving them clear, concise, things like even making short-term goals, things that investors can get behind, and they would feel more secure. Trian also wants to try to do something with ESPN. They want to shift from the cable subscription model to a direct-to-consumer service because they said that everything's changing and that model is old and it's probably going to be obsolete. But they also want short-term profitability targets, because what happens is they keep going with this, we're going to be profitable by this date, and we're going to hit this many subscribers by this date. And it's usually far off. And they don't give you much other than how many subscribers they lost and things like that. And people need to see short-term goals. Like, by the end of this quarter, we plan to do this. By the end of the year, we plan to do this. But like short-term goals that they feel more secure if they want to get the stocks back up, which Nathanson felt they could get it back up to the $120, $130 range if they would make some changes. So we're seeing a lot of trouble at the box office. We have, maybe 2 movies did well this year. Elemental, I think, broke even and made a little profit. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, of course, made some money. But the rest of them haven't done well. Elemental took a whole summer in overseas market to do well. And the Marvels movies that were coming out, like the Marvels and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, did not do well. I mean, other than Guardians of the Galaxy, they did not do well. So they have all these major brands that they own, but they have missed, they have not been good caretakers of, and they have missed the mark, and they have put, I would say, politics and agenda above good storytelling, which you can still put messages in the movies, but you need to do it in a way that, one, isn't ham-fisted, and two, that, is entertaining and character-driven first, narrative second. And they aren't doing that. But what was interesting to me, too, was people were talking about on Twitter, and Sir Braden from Mickey Views, he has some things to say that I thought were very interesting. He has been covering all that was going on here, and he was talking about things that Peltz had said and things that he's talking about. And one of them was the park. You can see it's getting a bit long in the tooth. They need more capital invested, which Disney says they're going to, but they're doing it over such a long period of time, they're going to get their asses kicked. The following is a thread of statements made by him during that interview, or different things he's been doing. He said he revealed that he visited Walt Disney World last week without guides, and everybody was nice. The people were wonderful. All the employees were smiling, and that's probably in a large part because they didn't own any Disney stock. Peltz noticed a need for updates at Walt Disney World. The park, as I said, needs certain rides are great, but you can see it's getting a bit long in the tooth. He talked about the capital. Peltz, one of Disney's largest individual shareholders, is watching Epic Universe rise down the street. You've got Comcast opening 500 acres right down the road in 2 years with a brand new park. They're also opening a park in Las Vegas, parks in Las Vegas and Texas. True. Epic Universe, especially if the rumors come true that they're adding Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, and possibly Luigi's Mansion down the road as well, especially Pokemon and Zelda, Disney better be concerned. You better be damn concerned, because I'm going to argue that Nintendo resonates more with kids than, Disney as of late, especially their new movies like Wish, which completely got its ass kicked in the theater. Meanwhile, Super Mario Brothers movie did very, very well. people are not resonating. Their characters aren't resonating with people. They are not connecting with their characters like they used to connect. They are more interested in a Zelda world than they are, Kanto world. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. Interesting up here, he says that he explains the renewed proxy fight. I made a run at them last year. They promised they were going to improve things. I took them at their word. They got worse. The stock went down. It was under $80 in September. Results got worse, so no more. I can't continue to give them more opportunities. And we have a board that wants to have, they're telling everybody to reelect themselves. Like everybody that they're asking to be reelected is pretty much on the board now. So it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be more of the same, and more of the same is not working. Clearly, a lot of these people have been there on the board since like 2015. Some of them were newer than that, but most of them have been around when all the problems started, when Iger, made the issues, when he was thinking he could do no wrong and making bad decisions like overpaying for Fox. And they sat there and agreed with it and went along with it. And you think they're gonna make changes now? I don't think so. He did mention that the castle and the Restore the Magic's and AI generated, probably because Disney, being Disney, would go after him for copyright if he used one of their pictures of their castle. Wouldn't surprise me. I did think this comment was funny. He was talking about when he went to, Disney and everybody was smiling because they didn't own Disney stock. But the people are getting pissed about it in the comments. That's all he cares about is stock. He'll strip the company and sell it for scraps if he gets a chance. He doesn't care about the parks. They'll milk the parks all the way, they'll collapse. I'm sorry, are you talking about Peltz or Iger? Because, so far all they do is take IPs that they acquire and they destroy them by milking them too damn hard. They keep trying to do things like the Galactic Star Cruiser that they had to shut down after losing how much money on? So are you talking about, I'm not sure how that's any different. Now, Braden brings up a point. He says, corporate raiders are different. Nelson doesn't have 100th of the means to require to do such a thing to Disney. The proxy fight is over who constitutes the company leadership, not ownership. And then we have the person again. And who do you think he'll fight for to get the leadership? Somebody who can influence or not. It's not an accident. Smiles not enough at Disney World. He brought it right back around to stock. Of course, he brought it right back around to stock, just Sean. Okay, because it's a company. All right. Disney is a company. Walt Disney Company. They care about stock. Iger's own, compensation is partially tied to stock earnings. Okay. That's why they made dumb choices in the past, because they were trying to drive that stock up. They are there to, keep the stock prices high to make money so they make investors money. That's why they're there. That's their job. That's why the investors are interested in the board. I'm sorry if you don't understand that. But beyond that, Iger is the one who has been making really bad decisions up to that point, with the board going along with it, which has caused the company to see diminishing returns. They have, pretty much screwed up Marvel, screwed up Star Wars. They overspent on Fox. The parks, they keep raising the prices, and, they were lowered a little bit, but now they're doing all the rules on annual pass holders to try to get the undesirable mix out of the way so to make more money. And they're trying to get their numbers up. They want to get the streaming up. They're doing all this stuff because it's about making money, because it is a company. But if you're mad about, them being all about stock, I'm going to tell you right now, so's the board, so's Iger. I'm sorry. They're not in it to make you happy. They cared about customers and they cared about Walt's legacy and all that shit. They wouldn't be making half the decisions they've been making as of late. It's not about that. It's about trying to appeal to certain people and look good. It's about certain people for years trying to leverage politics and political aspirations of their own, which thank God they walked back. Personally, not the company, but Iger was trying to get himself political positions, which now apparently he's given up, thankfully. And they have leveraged stuff to their own personal means for years. And they're doing it to try, they're doing it now because it's about the stock. It's about the money. It's not about you. It's not about the guests at Walt Disney World. If it was about the guests at the parks, they would have fixed the parks a long time ago. They may be maintaining the parks now. I'm sorry. Bullshit. Anyway, I'm interested to see how this goes, because I think more and more investors are actually starting to side with Peltz, especially in regards to streaming, because they don't have faith in streaming. They don't understand it. It has not been performing well. They're gun shy about it now. There's no clear transparency. There is no like smaller short-term goals that they're communicating. Disney is not being very communicative with their investors, with the public. And I think that is a big problem. So it's going to get very interesting because even some of their people that were like the biggest Disney kiss asses are out there like, wait. Disney needs to have some changes made. It can't just keep staying the same. Of course, the pixie dusters are still going to be like, yay, Bob Iger, and keep ignoring the fact that he's the one that put them in the position they're in the first place. But it is what it is, and something needs to change. Whether it be Peltz or a different group that comes in, they need change. They cannot stay the same. The board cannot remain exactly as it is. This is what happens when you keep leaving it alone. When you let Iger and his board that he basically are loyal to him and kissing his ass and bringing him back. Iger clearly has been doing what Iger wanted this whole time, and it has cost the company a lot. I don't think that we need to let this go on any longer. But that's just me as an investor. So what do you think? Comment and let us know, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.